It happened again, didn't it? To you or to someone you love? I know your story. Everyone's situation is different, but the results are usually the same. Let me know if this sounds familiar to you. It was around 11:30 at night, your spouse had just fallen asleep, you're tired but something keeps nagging at you, so you decide to get up just to check your email. Or maybe to look on eBay or Craigslist for something that you know you really don't want or need. Then a few minutes later, it happens again. You have no idea how you got there, but you're there. You knew it happened, even though you won't admit it. You have a second of hesitation, but you know it's already too late. 1 hour quickly turns into 2, and then 2 into 3. You know you're going to be tired tomorrow for work, but at this point you just don't care. You know the shame and guilt you're going to feel, the look of pain in your eyes when you look at your loved ones, but it's already too late, isn't it? For some of you, this is a story that happens often. In fact, for some of you, it probably just happened. That's why you're here, right? For others, it hasn't happened to you, but to someone you love, a husband, a boyfriend, your child. Now, from the outside, your situation looks hopeless. From the inside, you feel trapped. You rationalize you're not hurting anyone else but yourself, but deep down, when you tuck your kids into bed and you kiss your spouse goodnight, you know that that's a lie you've been telling yourself and hoping it's going to lessen the pain. You're aching for a change, either for yourself or for a loved one. And that pain is real. It's being felt by millions of people all around the world, yet you still feel completely alone. You're feeling it right now or you wouldn't be here, right? But you're here now. Call it luck, call it destiny, call it whatever you will, but this time is different. This time it can't be a should. It has to be a must. If not, what do you lose? Your wife, your family, your job, your self-respect, your relationships. But it's deeper than that, isn't it? Do you have kids? What are their names? How will their lives be affected if you don't change yours right now? How will they look at you in 5 years from now, in 10 years, or on your deathbed? How are they going to remember you? You're writing your history right now, day by day, and if you don't like what's being written, now is your only chance to change, because tomorrow, as we know, never comes. But I know what you're thinking. I've tried it before. I've tried to use my willpower to stop. I've tried to use tools to block my computer from visiting those websites. I've promised myself over and over again that this time I would stop. But you didn't, did you? It's just like in Star Wars when Luke Skywalker told Yoda that he would try. If you remember, Yoda responded, "No, try not, do or do not, there is no try." Up to this point, you've probably tried many things. People usually find us in this video after they've tried many things and failed, usually more than once. And believe me, the path to overcoming pornography addiction is paved with people trying to stop. But this addiction is much harder than they first think. Brain studies have shown that pornography addiction is comparable to cocaine or heroin addiction. In fact, did you know it's harder to quit porn than crystal meth or crack? But people don't talk about this silent killer. Although millions of people are silently struggling with it, lives and families are being destroyed every day because of it, but almost as bad are the millions of people who struggle with this addiction daily and live in misery every waking day trying to find a way out for themselves and their families. True, they're lucky this addiction hasn't yet strangled their family relationships, even though they're slowly suffocating the love, life, and happiness they should be enjoying. So is there hope? Is there a way back home? Is the light at the end of the tunnel you've been hoped for and silently prayed for really there? Because without that hope, why even try? Why put forth the effort if all there is at the end is heartache for you and your loved ones? Especially when you've tried this before and you failed. But what if there is a light? And what if that light wasn't just a temporary solution that would last a week or a month or a year, but that light was complete freedom? A way to break out of the chains of this addiction forever. A way to finally be able to look in the mirror and to be able to smile back at yourself. No more hanging your head in shame or guilt. No more sneaking back into bed hours past when you should have been asleep. No more erasing your browser history or making up stories about what you've been doing, but having absolute confidence that you not only had overcome your addiction, not only had you conquered it, but you had stared your fear in the face and stepped up against all odds and you had earned your freedom. Because like Mel Gibson said in Braveheart, they may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom. But it doesn't stop there, because after you change, you're going to start to notice other changes too. At first, it's going to seem small, almost unnoticeable. It will start with your spouse or your partner. The way they look at you will change. The way they act around you will change, because you have changed. And then you're going to start to notice it with your kids, not because they will know anything's different, but because you become the person that they need to reach their potential. It will start to trickle down into your job and your other responsibilities. Your confidence will grow, your happiness will increase, and your pain, the same pain and fear that was tying you down and keeping you from your full potential, that was destroying you, your relationships, and your family, will now be gone. Almost as if it had never even been there. All because you were finally able to stop trying and finally do. Now imagine what your life would be like when you've reached this point. Just picture yourself. You just reached the top of the mountain. Your arms are outstretched over your head. A deep sigh comes out and a smile grows across your lips because you know you've made it. I want you to hold that picture in your mind for a minute, because I'm about to reach out my hand to you to pull you up to higher ground. But before I reach out my hand and give you the tools that you need to forever free yourself from this addiction, you need to know that the trail to the top of this mountain is laced with traps set up and designed to destroy you. Now, if you've tried to quit in the past, then you know these traps are there. They are real, and more than once they've caught you, haven't they? It's impossible to succeed if you don't know how your enemy is trying to destroy you. These traps have destroyed and continue to destroy millions of people every single year, and they will destroy you again if you aren't careful. Now, the first trap is what I like to call symptom-based cures. If you've ever been to a traditional counselor or tried any other programs online, you've probably been confronted with this trap and lost. They spend lots of time trying to discover the triggers that ignite your cravings, and then they show you the techniques to block these triggers. Now, while it seems like a logical approach, the problem is that the triggers are not the problem. It's just a symptom of the real problem. Now, you can cover the symptoms, but if you don't fix the root problem, the solution is just temporary. You probably felt the effects of this trap before. You rely on your very own willpower, which in turn starts to build up pressure. You normally start seeing some short-term success until one day you slip, and you quickly start spiraling downwards again into a very dark abyss that's worse than the place you originally started. Depression and embarrassment set in as you start to realize that you couldn't do it again. And the fear of failure pushes you deeper and deeper into a hopeless cycle, driving you back into the silent killer that you were trying to escape in the first place. Have you ever experienced that trap before? It's not an easy one, is it? Now, the second trap deals with addictions as a whole. Most people mistakenly think that all addictions are the same. If you're addicted to alcohol or drugs or tobacco, it's not the same thing as being addicted to pornography. And how you overcome pornography is not the same way that you overcome other addictions. Good-meaning people who are trying to help just don't understand this, and so they give their advice, well-meaning advice, that's wrong and potentially deadly to your efforts. Let me explain. In a normal sexual experience, your body releases 4 important neurochemicals. Now, these chemicals can give us almost unmatched happiness and joy with our partners. The first is called dopamine. Now, dopamine creates a feeling of ecstasy and arousal and focuses your energy on the experience. It creates a dependency based on your sexual experience and your partner. The second neurochemical is called norepinephrine. This chemical has a searing effect to burn the experience into your mind. The third is called oxytocin, which is a bonding chemical. It's the same powerful chemical that bonds a mother with her newborn baby. And the last chemical is called serotonin, which gives you a calm, good feeling after you climaxed. Now, in a normal sexual experiences, these 4 chemicals bond you and your partner together and bring about more happiness and joy than almost anything else you can experience during this life. But when you're viewing pornography, these same chemicals are released by your body. But instead of bonding you to your partner, they bond you to an imaginary fantasy and images. It creates confusion in your mind, and it can actually destroy the bonds you have with your spouse, your kids, and your family. So while people think that other addictions are similar to pornography addictions, they are wrong. Because of the power of these chemicals and the bonding and the searing that comes from them, it's much more difficult to break the patterns of abuse if you don't understand how these elements are working against you. And the third trap is the one that's the most scary for me, because this is the one that I personally dealt with myself. The third trap is called hopelessness. Now, not long ago, I was just like you. The reason why I know what you're going through right now is because your story is my story. Now, I still don't remember how it all started, but I do remember how hopeless I felt. I wanted to be happy for my wife, for my kids. I wanted to give them what they deserved, but every time I tried to step up, I fell back down. It seemed for every step I took forward, I'd fall 2 steps backwards. I tried everything I could think of to stop. Counselors, hypnosis, online training programs, and more. Each of these techniques focused on a part, but none of them was whole. This hopelessness felt like a 1,000-pound barbell on my shoulders. Sure, I could carry it for a while, but eventually the weight kept breaking me down, until one day someone reached out their hand to me. Just like the hand I'm about to offer to you. But this hand, I could tell almost immediately, was different. This hand guided me through the traps, led me to the top of the mountain, and pulled me up on top, where I was finally able to celebrate. And not just for a day or a week or a month, but continual celebration with my wife and kids. That is the gift that I want to give to you right now. This is the freedom that I promise you is worth fighting for. So now it's your turn to give you something different, to give you something whole, to give you something that actually works, to show you the hand that finally gave me hope once again. Now, I want to introduce you to the person who helped lift me up to higher ground. His name is Ryan Winder. Now, Ryan is a licensed marriage and family therapist in Las Vegas, Nevada, who specializes in pornography addictions. But he's not an ordinary therapist. He has found that what traditional psychology teaches is completely backwards. So the entire model they've been trained to use to help save families from the strongest addiction on earth, in my opinion, is broken. And that's a tragedy, especially for all those who don't just want change, but really need change now. But you already know that, don't you? You may have already been down that road only to have relapse days or months later. Ryan felt so bad when he would see people like this, who desperately needed help, who despite the fear and the pain they felt, decided to go out and try to get help. And the tragedy is that they're trying to get help from good, well-intentioned people who care. But unfortunately, these people just aren't trained or equipped with a system that works consistently and has been proven over and over again. Try as they may, they just don't understand how to permanently break this pattern forever. They may have studied at school, but as we all know, studying and doing are two completely different things. And that's why when I met Ryan for the first time, it was like a breath of fresh air, because he wasn't someone who had learned these theories on how to overcome pornography addiction, but someone who had an actual roadmap that had been proven over and over again with hundreds of clients. And like a warrior, he had gone to battle with his clients, stood on the front lines with them as they fought the battle of their lives, and for their freedom, and came out victorious over and over again. Now, while I was lucky to be able to meet Ryan in person, I know that for you, unless you're currently living in Las Vegas, it's just not possible. If you can imagine living in Las Vegas, the heart of Sin City, and being the creator and the only person teaching this method, as powerful as it is, comes with its share of responsibilities. This formula is already supporting hundreds of people in the Las Vegas area, along with their families across the globe, including my own. Now, when people first started to discover Ryan and his methods, they went to any lengths to meet with him. If they were in Las Vegas, they would immediately get on the waiting list for a chance to meet him. But because of the demand for his time, often it was weeks or months before they could sit down and talk to him. And by that time, the damage had already been done. The negative cycles and patterns they were trying to break had gotten worse. Each relapse was like a new strand of thread, making the ropes that bound the victim stronger and stronger until they became almost unbreakable. And what about those who are not in Las Vegas? After he started appearing on TV shows around the country and rumors spread about the effectiveness of this system, people would spend thousands of dollars to fly to his office, not to mention the hotel costs and the time away from work, to get Ryan's help, to finally break free from this addiction. But it's worth it, don't you think? What would you pay to break these chains forever? What lengths would you go to finally have your life back? So something had to be done. A system needed to be created that would make it possible for Ryan to help people who didn't have the ability or the means to meet with him personally. Something that could be done in the comfort and the privacy of your own home, and at a cost that was affordable to everyone. But we had one big challenge. We needed something that would be just as effective as meeting Ryan in person, that would equip you or your loved ones with the exact same tools that you would get from Ryan personally. So when you stepped into your own personal battle, you would emerge victorious. Now, after painstakingly recording and re-recording Ryan's system, we finally felt we had done it. So then we needed to put it to the test to make sure it would work. And the results were, well, let me show you what the results were. This is the testimonial we received from a guy named Lincoln. I've struggled with pornography for most of my life. Before meeting Ryan, I had tried and failed to overcome this addiction. Too many times to tell. I had seen the therapist, I had read the literature, I had tried all of the tricks to avoid pornography, but nothing ever worked. The addiction was like a cancer, and all of my attempts to rid myself of it proved unsuccessful. When I met Ryan, my heart was heavy and my conscience seared by years of shame and guilt about what I considered must be a character flaw, a profound sense that something at my very core was damaged or wrong. Ryan helped me come to an understanding that there wasn't something terribly wrong with me. I had a problem, and he was there to help me fix it. I have a much better outlook on life now. I attribute this to having worked with such an experienced specialist such as Ryan. He helped me peel away layers of my addiction and anxieties to get to the root of my problems. Life is much more simple now and much more enjoyable. Before meeting and working with Ryan, I didn't know if I could feel joy and peace in my life, but I'm here to tell you that's what I feel today. We have a lot more just like that. In fact, maybe that's why Ryan's clients like to call the system the get out of jail free card, for getting out of the pornography prison. Isn't it going to be nice when you're finally free from this prison forever? And believe me, you can, because this system works. It works if you've just gotten into pornography. It works if you've been addicted for years. It works if you've completely given up hope. In fact, for those of you who are watching this who don't have an addiction, but someone you love does, it'll work for you too. It'll help you to understand why they are struggling and give you the tools you need to help them break free forever. So now you can stop searching for something that will work and step into a system that creates freedom now and for years to come. As you can imagine, the demand for this system has been huge. Billions of dollars are spent each year selling pornography, and millions of lives, families, and homes are destroyed because of it. And because Ryan is not in this to make money, but to help people, he decided to do something that other therapists have already said is completely crazy. As you know, most therapists charge between $50 and $75 per hour. In fact, good specialists often charge $100 or more per hour. And Ryan, well, because he has a lot more clients than he can handle, he charges even more than that, a lot more. But for simplicity, let's say he only charges $100 an hour. So if you want to see him every week, that would cost you $400 a month. Now I know that's not chump change. It's the same as a monthly payment on a new car. And it's just not affordable for a lot of people. But each of these sessions is part of a system that you need to break free. And each of the steps are essential. If you miss just one of these building blocks, you're going to be opening yourself up to the traps we talked about earlier. So when you consider the fact that when you log into the members area for the very first time, you're going to see that you're going to have immediate access to 23 video modules. Now each of these modules is the equivalent to one session with Ryan in his office. So it would cost you $2,300 to get full access to this life-changing system. But I think that you'd admit that if you could stop your addiction to pornography once and for all, it'd probably be worth $2,300, right? And others have paid that. People in Las Vegas are paying more than that right now. And others who fly in are paying 2 to 3 times that much for flights and hotels. But it'll be worth it, don't you think? When you have your freedom, your happiness, your family, and your time back forever. And unlike Ryan's typical clients, you don't have to wait 23 weeks to solve your problem. You can dive in right now, immerse yourself, and go through all the modules in a weekend if you want to. You can stop the addiction right now. Isn't that great? But because Ryan is not in this for the money, but he legitimately wants you to succeed, he also knows that if you don't invest something, you're not going to be fully engaged. Don't you agree? They say that when you don't pay attention. And we need you to pay attention because it's that important. We're not talking about a game here. We're talking about your life, your happiness, and your future. So we need to make sure that you invest something to make sure you're going to value it. But don't worry, you're not going to pay anything near what the system is worth. So what I'm about to do for you, for the person who's finally ready to break the chains of bondage, we're taking the $2,300 you would pay Ryan personally for the system, and we're throwing it out the door. We're going to practically give it to you for the price of just one session with Ryan. That's right, for just $100, you're going to be able to access all 23 video modules and their accompanying homework from the comfort of your own home. This entire system. But you're not really investing in a system, are you? You're investing in your freedom, and you can't put a price on that. Now, for some of you, I know that $100 might be a lot. It might be more than you can afford right now, and I get that. The economy has been tough on most of us. So Ryan actually asked me to give you a very special discount for the first 100 people who take action this month. Now, if you're seeing this video, that means the discount is still available. So for you, you're going to get the complete access to the $2,300 course for just $47. Yes, that's less than half the cost of just one session with Ryan or any good therapist. It's the same cost as a nice dinner for two. But this just won't feed you for a night. It's going to change your life forever. And that's what you're really paying for, isn't it? You might think you're buying some videos or access to a membership site, when the fact is, what you're really buying is your life back, your peace of mind. And if even that price is too steep for your budget, it's cool. I get that. Times are tough out there, so I've got your back. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate all the risk of your purchasing right now. Here goes. If you're not happy with the results from the Overcome Pornography system, you're not going to pay for it. It's that simple. In fact, I'll give you a full 60 days to run the program through its paces. If you haven't completely kicked your pornography addiction, or you're bummed, annoyed, irritated, or unsatisfied by how it's going for any other reasons, or no reasons at all, just send us a request and you'll get every penny back. We won't ask you a single question. We'll just refund every penny, and it's that simple. It's our way of ensuring that everybody walks away winner. Now, below this video, you're going to see an order button. Do you see it? It says add to cart. Now, for those of you who are ready to change, this is your first step. Now, for those of you who are already placing your order, I want to talk to you for a minute. I want to talk to you about your future, because what's about to happen is different for everyone. For some, overcoming pornography means a better relationship with their spouse. For others, it may mean they have more free time. For others, it can mean something completely different. But for you, that order button just isn't an order button, is it? It's your life. It's your freedom. Now, there aren't many opportunities like this in life that can bring you absolute freedom like this can. And when one does come along, you either take it or you spend the rest of your life wishing you did. Now, I believe that within a few short months from now, a year from now, and for the rest of your life, you look back on this moment as the instant in which your life changed forever. But only if you make the decision to click on the Add to Cart button right now and fill out the order form before this limited opportunity vanishes. If you wait, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but with absolute certainty, if you wait, you will miss this chance. I know without a shadow of a doubt you're going to do the right thing for yourself and your family. So place your order now, and we'll see you on the other side.